God is fully present in all men, even when they don't know it. Here are some of the best quotes that summarize Paul Selig's book, The Book of Truth. Your heritage, mankind's heritage, has always been the kingdom. And the kingdom, as we have taught, the awareness of the Creator in all manifestation, which is always here, will be met by you in this alignment to truth. Here's another reminder of what the guides, who are what Paul Selig channels, define the kingdom as, the awareness of the Creator in all manifestation. And a reminder that it is our truth, it is our heritage, that is our home. And as what we've never left it, it is our foundational essence. The perceiver and the object, whatever the object is, or thing is, and wherever it may be, is always in co-resonance with the one that perceives it. You always experience that which you are the vibration of, or that reality is a mirror, what you put forth is what you get back. So what you perceive and how you perceive it, it makes that thing that's perceived that way. You create your reality. The small self or personality structure does not fix itself. It is the divine self, as and through you, appropriating its world to its true nature that calls the kingdom into manifestation. And the kingdom, again, the awareness of the Creator in all things, already exists but is only perceived by one who knows who she really is. As Jesus says in the Gospel of Thomas, like the kingdom is spread out upon the earth, but people do not see it. The kingdom is here. It is the true essence of everything. It's the Creator in all things. It's the realization and perception of the unity of the one. And this shares an idea that comes up again and again in Paul Selig's books, which is that the small self or the personality doesn't do the work. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't gain something. It's the divine self. It's your true self, which you already are. So the idea is to surrender, to let go of the illusions that the ego or small self creates. Spirituality is not attained. It is simply your true nature. You are spirit knowing itself in form. You have simply put the cart before the horse. This one follows nicely from the previous one, right? Is that you don't need to become spiritual. The small self, the ego self, doesn't need to attain something to become spiritual. That's what you already are. You already are spiritual. You just need to surrender and remember what you are. By being truth, you light the world. So this is not done just for you, but for all mankind. Once you understand who and what you are, the divine self as you are not swayed by external action because you realize everyone and everything as an aspect of the divine expressing itself as it may best. This is an idea that's presented by a lot of enlightened masters and spiritual books, which is once you get to a certain level of realization or remembrance, external experiences or things don't influence you. You recognize the illusion of it and the truth behind that illusion. You recognize the divine in everything. So you're always in this state of peace and love. And you realize that everything is at its own level and they're doing their best from the state that they're in, from the state of being or state of mind that they're at. They are doing their best. From this awareness, it makes it much easier to forgive because you're like, they're doing their best. They might be in a nightmare and that's why they're acting that way. At their essence, all religions are teaching the same thing. The divine is present in all manifestation, and the only one who may know it is the one who knows who he is in consort with the true self and divinity expressed in all ways. It doesn't require work to be as you are. It requires allowance and alignment. I like this quote. I like the ones that are simple and straight to the point. This idea is found in a lot of other books I've read, especially in the Jeshua letters by Mark Hammer, a channeling of Jesus, because he emphasizes a lot in that book allowance, surrender and allowance. You don't need to work. You know, my yoke is easy, my way is mild. It doesn't require work to achieve enlightenment or truth, or to raise your vibration, or to remember what you really are. You are that thing already. What it requires is surrender, humbleness, humility, allowance, alignment. So choosing to align to that frequency you already are and stop creating things that are out of alignment. The truth of what you are, the divine self, or the Christ principle operating as you, is unchangeable. It is a fire that burns within your heart, and that fire, in its truth, will envelop you and transform all matter that you encounter by your touching it in your perception. We are reminded again of this idea of your perceptions change your world. And when in the Christ consciousness, you perceiving everything as God, it is your perception touches everything and it transforms it to its true nature. The comprehension of this, the true self as you and as all things, is not done through the intellect. It cannot be done there. In fact, the intellect will tie it in a knot and a bow and spend the rest of her life trying to untangle it. The true self knows, the small self thinks, and the comprehension of this teaching must be done in experience. This is another idea that's found again and again in spiritual text and from masters, spiritual masters, is that the intellect, the logic, cannot understand this truth. It is beyond that. You are always the true self. The aspect of God that is you is always present, but is not necessarily being expressed. So what must we do? Choose to express it. Choose to align to it. If the God self is not expressed in form, it remains an idea. So only through us is it expressed. Only through humanity is God expressed. We must bring it forth. We must allow it to come forth with us. We must choose to align to it and express the love, allow it to be expressed through us. The one who seeks the kingdom and is willing to relinquish the known will find it, however lovely the known seems. There's a little encouragement, right? Whoever seeks for the kingdom will find it. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will open. Whoever seeks the kingdom will find it if they're willing to let go of the known. If you're willing to surrender things that you think about, things that you are taught, or your whole paradigm, basically, if you're willing to fully surrender all that you think is what is, then you will find it. The Christ itself, the what that you are, is the one that does this work, not the small self who thinks she knows everything. As stated before, this idea shows up again and again in Paul Selig's books. I think it's the most often occurring idea in his books, is that the small self doesn't do the work. It's the true self, the spirit, the Christ self that does the work. The small self thinks and assumes and miscreates. Therefore, surrender. The Book of Truth, another book by Paul Selig I highly recommend. I highly recommend all of them. They're great. And there's a link in the description below if you're interested in buying one. Thank you.